Okay, we're live. We're gonna, yeah, do all that good stuff. There I am. Look at that. Okay, can I hear myself? That's the real question. Okay. All right, welcome everybody. T350 Show. I'm back in the studio. Yeah. Hi, Jim. Hi, Jim. I'm Jim. Hi, Russ. So, yeah, I took a week off, and I intended to do a whole lot of hunting, and I didn't do a whole lot of hunting. By Monday afternoon on the first day, I had two deer on the ground, and I had already gotten one with archery, so I had 3 deer. And in Ohio, you're allowed 6, but we're only allowed 3 in my county. So now I got to go to another county if I want to keep hunting. And which I bought another tag just because end of January is a long way away, and I want to just get out there and do so. I may not shoot another one. I may not harvest another deer. I don't know, but yeah, my 350 worked great. It's the first 2 deer that I killed with that 350. I took it hog hunting with me in Texas last summer, and it knocked the snot out of the hogs, and it did the same thing to the deer. The one doe I shot, she dropped right where she stood, and then the other one maybe made it 20, 25 yards. So it did its job. I'll tell you what, and the 180 Winchester power points, they performed perfectly. I had no complaints, and my gun performed perfectly. So I'm real happy with that gun. It's nice to carry around. It's nice and light, and it shoots great. It's less than a minute of angle at 100 yards. Brian was out shooting with me a couple weeks ago, and I was stacking them up in a 1-inch square. And so, but we got a bonus weekend coming up. Not this weekend, but the weekend after. I'll probably go out and poke around a little bit, maybe with the boys. And I got the 16-inch Faxon barrel, Russ. I got the Faxon Gunner barrel. More than enough for. I'm not shooting long distance here in Ohio, and a 350 is a 200-yard gun realistically. So, and you ain't shooting 200 yards here in Ohio. Unless you're shooting out across the field. There's just no open. You don't have the open spaces like they do out in the prairies and the plains and the western states. So, the 350 shoots plenty. If I could see 100 yards, I can get it, but. Actually, I sighted in for 100 yards, and I'm shooting really good groups at 100 yards, and both deer were 30, 40 yards. I could have got them with a bow. But I got a bunch of meat in the freezer, and so now we'll maybe turn to rabbit hunting, to a little rabbit hunting, a little small game hunting. Get ready for spring turkey, and the steelhead are running here. So, and I haven't done any steelhead fishing in years. I used to go with Dave all the time, and I haven't gone in a long time. I'd like to get back into steelhead hunting or steelhead fishing. So, Andy did the trivia show last week. We gave a bunch of stuff away and donated to some charities and had a little fun. I didn't get to watch it. I was otherwise involved. The wife had a doctor's appointment Tuesday, and we were at the doctor's. So, that was all happening, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. I hope Russ got his prizes. I hope everybody got their prizes. If you won something last week and you didn't, you didn't get a hold of us, or we didn't have your address or something. If you won something and you didn't get it, let us know. I think we got everybody taken care of. Yeah, I think we got it all taken care of. I don't know. Did anybody get any? Did we give away a tactical? We give away tactical girth T-shirts. Yeah, couple. Good. Yeah, these are a big hit. I went to the Whitetails Unlimited banquet Friday after Thanksgiving, and I wore my shirt, and it got quite a few smiles. Guy stopped me and was like reading it, and they got a kick out of it. And I won a gun. I won a gun at the raffle. I won a CVA Scout 450 Bushmaster single shot break open rifle. Nice. It shoots great. Great trigger. Really accurate. But man, does that thing have a punch. Holy mackerel. We're used to shooting an AR that has a buffer spring and a buffer system and takes all the you get just a straight gun with a stock and it's a break action single shot. Holy mackerel. That thing kicks like a mule. First time I shot it, it was a little bit of a surprise. Yeah, I'll have to bring it in next week and show it off. It's a nice gun. It really is. It's for a single. I've never owned a single shot rifle, so. But you only need one shot, right? Isn't that what they say? Right? If you get more than two shots, yeah, one. That's what I always tell her. Yeah, I want it. Well, I did win it. But I did probably spend $100 plus at the show, at the banquet. So, but it was a $300 gun, so I made out. I'm happy, right? I want it in my mind. It's like when you talk about all the free meat you get when you go hunting, right? Let's look at all this free meat. Your license and gun and bullets and processing and clay and all this different. It's like that's the most expensive meat you're ever gonna buy. But hey, I'm going hunting anyway, so the meat is a bonus. So this week, we talked a couple weeks ago about drop-in triggers, and we gave away a trigger 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and we've pushed the drop-in trigger and talked about it and explained everything about it. And this week we're going to talk about Mil-Spec triggers and how to enhance your Mil-Spec trigger. There's a thing called polishing. And are you ever going to get a Mil-Spec trigger down to the 3.5 to 4 pound drop-in, and are you going to get the zero creep, and are you going to get the performance of a drop-in trigger out of polishing your Mil-Spec trigger? No, it's never going to happen. If you think that's what you're going to, if that's what your intent is, you're going to be disappointed. Okay, you're going to take a couple of pounds out of a Mil-Spec trigger. I think is 6 to 10 pounds the range, and the way they're ground, they're gritty and they're hard. It's just what you're looking to do is take a couple pounds out of it and smooth the process out. Okay, if you're looking for anything other than that, get yourself a drop-in trigger, because you're not going to be happy with just polishing a standard trigger. One of the things that makes a drop-in trigger different from the Mil-Spec trigger, you got a ton of travel, right? And this is hard to see, but you've got, as I'm pulling this trigger, it moves backwards a good 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch before the gun goes off. And why that is, you'll notice, and if the camera can zoom in, you'll see the sear point from a Mil-Spec trigger to the drop-in trigger. Let me see here if I can. Yeah, back this way probably, right? There you go. You can kind of see the height differential, okay? Your Mil-Spec trigger has got about a 60,000 sear height, and the drop-in trigger has about a 30,000 sear height. It's about half. So one of the things you want to watch, the dangers you can run into with that, is that you don't have this travel. So a Mil-Spec trigger, when you put it in safe and you pull the trigger, it pulls, right? You can move it, and it moves backwards about a 1/16 of an inch, and you can actually see it start to come off of the sear point if you look through the opening in the jig, right? So if you had that happen on this drop-in trigger, if you could pull this back a 1/16 of an inch, it's going to go off. So what you have to do is play the tolerances higher so that it's almost hard to put it into safety. You want the safety to rub, and you can see where I've been putting this one in safety, and you can see the shiny part of the metal back there. Like, right in this area. There you go. There you go, right there. Yep, that looks good. You can see that shine. That's where the safety's been rubbing as I engage it. So it's almost hard to put it into safety. That way, when you pull this trigger under safety, you can't pull it at all. There's no travel. We don't want any travel because on a zero creep trigger, once the trigger starts to move, that gun's going off. That's the way it's designed. So you only put a couple, 3 pounds of pressure on there, and as soon as it starts to come off the sear point, boom, it breaks and it's going off. So if you have this, right? Hear that? That's how much that thing's moving. Okay? If you have that happening on a standard drop-in trigger, there's a good likelihood that that thing could go off under safety. Right? So that's why we play the tolerances higher. We have a shorter sear point. We have a higher safety tang so that it's almost hard to engage in safety, and you can't pull that trigger at all under safe conditions, and then you don't have to worry about it going off because, you know, when you design a zero creep trigger, that's what you want. Is you don't want this long anticipation of, okay, it's going, bang, it goes. Okay? So you don't want to buy a drop-in trigger, or you can't buy a drop-in trigger. I mean, you know, whatever it might be, right? And the grittiness of it, right, Russ? They just feel gritty. They're hard to pull. I mean, they do the job. They've done the job for years, but they could be better. We're going to show you real quick how to make that a little bit better. So we're going to disassemble this thing real quick. And I'm going to show you something really cool. You'll hear it. I'm going to show you this. I hope you can hear this through the microphone. I'll get it as close to the microphone as I can. So when you look at a Mil-Spec trigger, the way it's been ground, and these are the ELGs, extra something longitudinal ground. So they're ground the same way that the thing pulls, right? That as this slides off, they're ground the same direction, which helps a little bit. But I want you to listen to this. If I can get, I'm going to turn the sound up and make sure that I'm getting the sound here. So you might hear me in the background talking to myself. So you see these lines on here? Right? That's ground. Okay? I don't know if you can hear that. Probably not. Anyway, we can hear it here, right? You can definitely hear it. It's like a record. It's like you're dragging your it's like you're dragging your knife tip across a record player, and you can hear it as it's going across there. Okay? So we got some 320 grit sandpaper, some nice fine sandpaper. We're going to put just a little bit of oil on here. And going in the same direction, we're going to work this trying to keep it as flat as possible. And you can tell, you can see your wear marks. Okay, we're starting to see those lines disappear, and that's what we want to do. We want to see those lines disappear. We want that surface to become smooth. You definitely don't want to overdo this. It's delicate, right? Bad things can happen if you overdo it. Well, fun things could happen, but bad things. Okay, it's pretty good. Now we're going to take this surface and find the flat, and we're going to do the same thing. you'll be able to see it. It's a little hard to probably see with the camera, but you'll definitely be able to see a difference in the texture. Okay, and you'll notice right away that a whole lot of that sound is gone. Okay, it's smoothed that surface right out. Okay, then to finish it off, we got a diamond file. Right, we use these a lot around the machine shop for various reasons. Put a little oil on that, and then again, going in the same direction, you're gonna polish that sear point and really finish it off. Right, you're not trying to change the condition of it. You're just trying, you don't really want to take much material off. You know, we're working with tents here. We're not really taking any material off. We're just smoothing it out. You know, if you spend more than 5 or 10 minutes doing this, you're probably overdoing it. And then same thing, keeping you want to keep all of your motions going in the same direction. Okay, you don't want to be going this way because you're pulling this way. You want to keep the lines going in the same direction you're pulling. Now what you're really done here, when you're all done, is you've basically really created a knife's edge here. This thing is really sharp. Okay, so the last thing, and you really don't want to overdo this, you just want to break that edge, you know, and about 3 or 4 swipes with the diamond file, just so that it's not going to cut. You can feel it. It's now it's not going to cut my finger. Before, if I'd have pressed hard enough, that would have cut my finger. Okay, a little more oil on this thing. And we're going to take, and now you can't, unfortunately, because there's no room to do it the same direction, you're stuck going the opposite direction of the sear point on the hammer. But you just lightly do the same thing. Now you can't get in there with the sandpaper on this one, so you're just polishing it as best you can, and you will see a dramatic difference. You know, when you look at this thing, you're going to see, because the lines are going in a different direction, and you can see where you've stopped filing or stopped polishing. And you're doing the same thing here, okay? You're creating a knife edge. Like I said, if you spend more than 5 or 10 minutes on any one of these parts, you're removing more material than you want to. And then again, just to break that knife's edge, a couple 3 swipes right across the knife edge. Okay. Now, probably, like I said, it'd be hard to hear again, but it's just as quiet as can be. right? There's no sound now at all in either face. You've just smoothed those record lines out. Okay? And you put your trigger spring on upside down after you've installed 1 million of them in your life. Come on. What the heck? Yeah. Any other time it... What the heck? Let's see here. Put some light in there. Okay, there it is. Okay. Now put our safety selector back in. Put just a little oil on it. I never have this much trouble until I go to try to film it, right? Noticeable difference. Very noticeable difference. It doesn't have, it still has creep, but not like it did because it slides off of there easier. And the pounds have definitely gone down by a couple at least. Definite improvement. Yeah, the light trigger springs. The light trigger springs, they do work. You start to get into the issue of maybe having a little problem setting off some of the steel primer ammo. You start to get light strikes, and so you got to play the balance there. Yep, hammer spring for hard steel primer, right? The opposite, a heavy hammer spring for hard steel, and a light trigger spring. Yeah, but it's just a nice little 10-minute thing you can do. And it's real simple, and you don't have a drop-in trigger, obviously. It's just not the same, but it's a noticeable difference. I mean, you'll notice it, trust me. So that's polishing a trigger. Quick and easy, down and dirty. Little 320 sandpaper, a diamond file. If you don't have a diamond file, you can use a nice fine sharpening stone that you sharpen your pocket knife with. But you don't use the heavy grit. You want the finest grit you can get. It almost is like one solid piece. It's almost smooth. Right? So that's our new straight trigger that's coming. We took it out a couple weeks ago and sampled it. Me and Brian did. Brian and I speak proper English. Trigger jig. Oh yeah, this trigger jig. We bought some of these from LaRue Tactical. They're real nice. I'll tell you what. They're plastic. So you're not like Russ said. You're not doing a hammer fall on your on your aluminum lower, which you can bust out the front of your lower there by doing that. If you don't have a trigger jig and you're testing your trigger in your lower, put your hand in front of it so that you're not hammer falling into that aluminum at the front. You could break the aluminum out of your forging, or you could break your bolt catch. I've seen both of them happen. So, excuse me, don't let your hammer fall on your lower. This is a nice little thing, all in on this, we were $20 for I bought the jig from LaRue Tactical, and then I bought the springs and detents and different pieces to put it all together for another $8. So I got like $20 in this thing. And nice for demoing triggers at different shows and whatnot, so a guy can, the trigger looks nice, and it feels great when you're playing with it here in your hand, but how's it feel in a real world application, right? And this gives you that real world application. Okay. So we got any other questions? Go back here and make sure. No? What are we doing? I forgot already. Yeah. We'll be in here talking about guns of some sort. Something about guns. But so, I don't remember. Oh yeah, gun cases for. When is the straight trigger coming out? I'm not. It's probably going to be. It's going to be a month or two, right? We got to burn the parts. We got to get them milled. Then we got to send them out, get them coated, get them back, and assemble them. So we're probably in the ballpark of a month. Yeah, we definitely want to have a couple to take to the SHOT Show with us. So I'm guessing by mid-January we'll have that. I like it. Brian liked it. It's just going to be a nice little addition to the lineup. Couple tweaks, yeah. We're going to lengthen the tang just a bit because it hits on the bottom of your finger here just a little bit, so we're going to lengthen the tang. I like having a tang on a straight trigger so that I know where my finger is every time. On a trigger like this, you've got over an inch of face here, okay, and this trigger set at 3.5 to 4 pounds, but 3.5 to 4 pounds up here is a lot different than 3.5 to 4 pounds down here. You've got that cantilever action going on, right? Like a fulcrum. It's a lot. The longer it is, the easier it is to pull, right? If you're pulling up here and it's 4 pounds, it's going to feel like 6 or 8 pounds. If you're all the way down here and it's 4 pounds, it might feel like 2 or 3. So getting your finger in that consistent place every time, so you're getting the same pull and you get used to it, is, consistency is the key to accuracy, right? You want everything on your gun to be consistent, including your finger. And I feel that tang in the center of my first knuckle pad at the bottom of my finger, and I know I'm in the same position every time. I drop right in there and I can feel it every time, and it gives me that consistent finger placement that is crucial to accuracy. So yeah, that's probably about a month out. And our guy that won the trigger, he sent me a message the other day. He posted on Facebook and a couple different places. He was excited to get it and can't wait to put it in his gun. Really liked it, liked the way it looked. So waiting to see back what he has to say about how it performs for him. But we've put a lot of work into our trigger in the last several months. And in fact, we're working on it right now. Right, we're always trying to improve it. I've got a pile of triggers sitting over on my desk right now, and we've raised the thickness here in 5,000ths increments, and we're looking for the skip proof, right, if you will. We want a trigger that is absolutely fail proof. It cannot skip. Even if the sear point, even if it comes off the sear, we don't want the thing to skip. So we want it to break, and then when it starts to come back up, it goes into interference mode almost immediately. So we're looking for, like I said, I've got a pile of 5 triggers over on my desk right now. We're going to drill them and tap them and start loading them in and test, seeing where the trigger finally just doesn't release, because you're going to get to a certain point on that height where the trigger doesn't release, and where that is, then we're going to back off, 5-10 thousandths and call it a day. And that's where we're going to run so that we have the most safe, fail-proof trigger that we can put out there. Right? You don't want drop-in triggers can be temperamental, and we've all had horror stories. We've had a few of our own, where guys, hey, when we first started this, we were learning about it, and we had some triggers that did some strange stuff to us. So, we continue to learn, but yeah, no giggle switch. We can't have a giggle switch. It makes you giggle, but yeah. Makes your wife say, that ain't supposed to happen, is it? And you say, nope, but hold on, it's going to happen again. And then you put it away real fast before somebody calls. Yeah. So, that's all I got for this week. That's polishing a trigger. You want to do that if you want to save a little bit of money. You want to take a couple pounds out of your trigger and smooth your trigger out. You are not going to get the performance of a drop-in trigger out of doing what we did here. You're just going to make it a little more user-friendly. So, yeah. The Machine Gunner's Creed. Accuracy through volume. So, join us next week. Like I said, I forget.
Buffer weights.
Is it buffer? We're talking about buffer weights? Okay. The buffer, the buffer weight in your buffer system, and what the different H1, H2, H3, what all those different things mean to you, and why you would want to change them out. There's various reasons why you want to do that. So join us next week. We're going to be talking about that. And I think we're probably going to have a Christmas giveaway coming up. We're going to be talking about giving something away next week. So giveaways are always fun. So you'll want to join us next week to see what we're throwing at you. All right. So remember, you don't have to be an expert to build your own AR, to upgrade it, or maintain it. We're here to help you do that. We'll see you guys next week.